When's the last time you guys got a massage?
Bali, like
yeah, okay,
2015 or something. Yeah.
Got an idea to throw at both of you.
Okay.
I had one today. The thing I don't like about massages is that once you've been in it for a while, you don't know how long you got left. It's like
there's no watch checking.
Yeah, we can't. Your face is rammed down a hole. But if you had like what
type of massage? Oh, sorry.
If you had like 15 minutes left, then you're like, all right, cool. Settle. You got mental capacity to understand you got 15 minutes left.
Is this a business idea?
Yeah, massage clock. Little
on
clock
the floor
that sits on the floor. Because if you got 5 minutes left, then
so a phone.
Yeah, that could work. And then you can really use those last 5 minutes to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, today I was going for a while, and then all of a sudden it was finished. Couldn't enjoy the last bit.
All right, you've heard it here first. There you go. BackChat, bringing you business ideas as well as I don't know what else. I'm just clearing up the table here on YouTube. If you are watching along, Josh is just leaving his money lying all over the table. Sorry, mate. You didn't have anywhere else to put it.
Oh, yeah. Stack the podcast game. I am rife with cash, right?
All right, we are joined for the entire show by the one and only Troy McClure, a.k.a. Josh Garlepp. But people would just be so lost with what I'm talking about. Josh, welcome.
Thanks for having me, guys. I've watched from afar as you've emerged from, I guess, your cocoon. You were at the West Coast Eagles, sort of boxed in, and now it's good to see what you've become.
We're up, which is what?
Phoenix from the ashes.
Out of the cocoon into what, do you think?
I don't know.
Slightly less broken cocoon.
You know, it's just more content for me.
Certainly not a butterfly.
It's endless now, and you're actually in my rotation.
Okay, good. I like it. So that's what we've got one of our only listeners on the show as a guest. Very good. Josh, we will get a bit into more about who Josh is, what he does, because we had some questions across social media, which, again, Josh, I'm sure you know exactly what that is.
Social media? Yes. It's the your take on the media landscape.
No, it's the greatest podcasting segment of all time. We will get that a little bit later on. As you know, you can follow us on socials. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube. And you can get to YouTube. That's
YouTube
it.
is the key.
Yeah, we're going to keep moving forward in this space, get forward into more live content. That's coming soon. I kind of tempted that a little bit last week, but we're going to get there quite soon. But we thought we'd get the big guests out of the way first in Josh Garlepp. Dan, you had a good week, mate?
Yeah. No, actually. I've been sick for days. There is one fly in here, and if we catch it by the end of the episode, success. No, I've been a bit sick, but I'm back and better than ever.
Charlie's here.
Hey, how we going? I'm back on BackChat.
Charlie's back, back on BackChat. BackChat's back. Where have you been, Charlie?
Oh, just a bit of a nomadic trip, not doing much, kicking the dust,
Look, we heard that you may have been on Albany Does The Bachelor, Farmer Wants a Wife,
that
Bachelor.
I can't reveal yet. Just keep your eyes peeled on the TV screens.
Wow. Impressive stuff, Charlie. Good to have you back, mate.
Oh, it's great to be back.
All under control back there?
Yeah, we're all good.
Right, if you want to send us an email, hello@backchatpodcast.com.au. You know how to do it. You send it, we read it. We've got a couple to get through today, but you know what we did, Josh, while you were away from this show? Okay. I feel like I need to introduce you a little bit more. Who are you? Tell the people of the world who you are.
Wow. So summarise my entire existence up to this point.
Yeah, please.
All right.
Make it short.
Oh, yes.
10 seconds.
Former sports journalist about 6 or 7 years. Have recently sort of left the mainstream media and started our own Spotify original podcast, plucked out of obscurity. Full credit, please listen to it. We need everyone we can get. But we got that opportunity from sort of making a little bit of comedy stuff. And we're still really small, my friends and I, but we make a lot of sports-centric, a lot of Perth-centric stuff. And we've got a little devoted following, but we're still growing. Not like the BackChat pod, that's for sure.
People, I wrote on the social media that you are like the Troy McClure of Perth, because I was thinking about things I know you from. And it's quite ranging.
Yeah.
You play basketball.
Yep.
Didn't play NBL, but you played SBL.
Yeah, I did. I trained with the Wildcats for one season. I was there mostly for the vibe. Big vibe guy.
Good.
Yeah, we used to have these. They actually took something from the Eagles.
This vibe guy like white towel in the air or is even less than that.
Even less than that. I think it was just
it's towel on the training.
Yeah, they have a really good moral stance. The Wildcats, really good locked in, and then they vicariously lived through 22-year-old me. on the weekends.
All right, this is good. This is good. Okay, so funny videos. I've seen a few. We can get into them a little bit later in the show. I assume that's all you do now is just think about funny shit to put on the internet?
Yeah. It's actually the pressure just heaps on yourself. It's like far out. Like I haven't made anything in 2 weeks. I need to do something. Oh, this person's funnier than me. I'm a failure.
Do you have pressure to be funny? I feel like you would. That sucks.
I'm supportive. Like anytime I see someone doing something by themselves, making their stuff like yourselves or any other creators in Perth too, it's such a rare place. I'm so supportive of that, but also it just puts pressure on yourself like you're a lazy fuck, you should be working harder.
Correct. Okay, so Josh is going to join us for the entire episode. A little bit like Sam Butler returns. Josh Garlepp arrives. That is correct. So Josh is going to be with us. I wanted to start with this.
Just quietly powering through his whiskey.
I was just noticing
it's been 3 minutes and he's had...
Did you tell him it was whiskey? You sure you didn't think it was cordial?
I was hoping there was more somewhere.
Can we? Oh, there he is. We're going to get through this whole bottle before we finish this episode. I wanted to start with the BackChat Christmas party. This is what I asked you before. Mm-hmm. Do you know what we've been up to since you haven't been here? No, you don't. We had a Christmas party.
Yep.
One, we missed the COVID outbreak here in Perth by 1 day at Pickabar. We were there from 7 to 11 on the Wednesday. Code 1 exposure site on the Tuesday. So, I mean, that's a big positive for us.
We also bounced around Northbridge that Wednesday night.
Yep, but we survived. Dan was tested at some point during the week. He thought he had COVID, but doesn't. Again, big positive. But during that Christmas party, I learnt some things about our BackChat community. Now, Charlie joined us back from his soiree over down in Albany. I will get to the bottom of where you've been, Charlie, because I still don't know. And then a few items came up. And Josh, I think you can weigh in on some of these and you can just sort of help us wade through these social, not dilemmas, but just quandaries.
Things that we need to talk about.
First thing on the agenda, do you ride a bike?
Everywhere, yeah.
Well... Good. Would you know it? Someone who has a relevant opinion. What are your thoughts on Lycra?
Oh, I'm a casual biker. So Perth's really flat. You can just, if it's within 5 kilometres, I ride there. I don't wear Lycra. It's okay. You know, if you actually do it properly, but if you're 2 weeks into your bike journey and you're purchasing full Lycra with the butt pad.
Would you ever wear Lycra? Have you ever worn Lycra?
Never worn Lycra, no.
Would you ever wear Lycra?
If I was doing like 70K bike ride, maybe.
But I mean, just riding to work or something like that. Okay, yeah. Well, Dan Const, Dan wears Lycra. Nothing against Lycra. I actually very supportive of the Lycra community here in Perth and the world.
Yep.
Big community, Lycra community. Dan wears Lycra beneath his casual clothes. So Dan will kit up in Lycra, but then put some casual clothes over the top of the Lycra.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Keep going.
Do you want me to tell the story or should you? Like, is that what you do?
Well, it sounds better coming from you because it's more outrageous. But I can just like settle it with the reasons.
That's how I understood it.
Okay.
You put Lycra on under casual clothes and that's how you get to
So when you
work.
think Lycra, I'm not wearing full Lycra. I've got the pants and it's got a butt pad in it.
Okay.
So literally what Josh said he would never wear.
I wear a pair of shorts over the top of the Lycra.
How come?
Just so that people don't need to see me in Lycra.
Okay.
And I can also put my phone in my pocket with headphones as I ride.
Are there no pockets on Lycra?
Well, I mean, the bougie ones,
There's got to be pockets on Lycra.
Not on mine. Not on the pair
Tour de France guys just go, oh, well, I don't know where to put
They're professionals. They've got little pouches on their backs.
It sounds like Tobias of Arrested Development Never Nude, where he strips off and he's wearing jean shorts all the time.
Shorts. No, dude, I used to ride my bike a lot, and then I started riding to work again. And I thought, why not? I've got them.
So when you rode your bike a lot, would you wear Lycra all the time?
Yeah.
Just Lycra? Casual clothes over the top?
Shorts on top.
Well, if you're already adopted and you're coming back, that makes sense then. Like, I get it.
You played basketball. Did you ever do the skins or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how much, like once you do it, you don't go back, right?
Yeah. I mean, it didn't really help me much, but yeah.
It's just comfort.
Yeah.
I had a problem. This is probably along the lines of the jerseys out in public type setup. People in the supermarket wearing the West Coast jumper. West Coast. No, hat's fine, but you know.
You.
No, not me.
He doesn't want anyone wearing a polo.
Not while I'm shopping. Like wearing the polo, like not on game day.
Yep.
Support your team at game day, great. But like on a Wednesday in January, it's probably not time to be pulling the West Coast stuff out of the closet.
Yeah, it's true.
Lycra's a bit like that under footy shorts for me. You need to just leave the footy shorts off. Just if you're going to wear skins, wear skins. Don't need footy. What are you covering up? You just wear skins, just like you,
Some
Dan.
people have
You're
more
not-
to cover up, and you feel conscious about it. So
Dan's got a big dick, everybody. Big dick energy. That's what this is. Okay.
I've learned a lot this last 10 minutes.
Okay, that's what we like to do here on BackChat Podcast. Cover the big topics. Now, I would love, Dan, I will not interfere with this, just usual butting in and random comments that I usually do, laughing. Can you talk to me about a flight across America? Just tell me the story that you told me at Christmas Day, because it is
end of
outrageous.
2015, start of 2016, was there for New Year's. I caught a flight from Portland to Los Angeles on the way home. That's LA to Sydney, Perth. From Portland to LA on the flight, everything was going okay. All of a sudden, I started to feel a bit sick. Yeah, people get sick on flights.
Sure.
But I was feeling dizzy, so I thought I better go up and I'm going to go have a little tack yak.
Also, people get dizzy on flights too.
Yeah. So as I'm walking back to the back, so you said you were going to have your comments.
I like helping you along.
So I walked to the back of the plane. I go to be sick in the toilet, and it was occupied. So I said to the flight attendant, "Excuse me, where's the closest bathroom?" But I didn't even get that sentence out, and I collapsed, passed out, and I woke up vomiting all over myself, and I was having a seizure. So I've never had a seizure before that.
Oh my
But-
God.
Why are you laughing so hard?
Yeah. Will loves my pain. And then the flight attendant's on the phone. She's calling the captain. We need the doctor. We need to land the plane.
You're having a spewing seizure. Of course she was.
Yeah, she was
deal.
worried. And then so we landed in Sacramento. Everyone got off the flight, including me. I got wheeled off on a stretcher.
Hang on, you weren't going to Sacramento.
No.
This
We're
is
going to
emergency
LA.
stop
They landed the plane early
because of you.
Yeah, I contaminated the flight. They wheeled me off. Everyone was so annoyed. They turned all the lights on. They wheeled me off from the back.
How did they wheel you off the plane? Like how
With a thing, stretcher.
like a gurney?
Yeah, they've got like a one that fits down the thing.
So you came off like strapped to a gurney down the middle of the plane from the back.
I don't think I was strapped. They didn't have to restrain me.
So you were sitting up?
No, I can't remember exactly, but they got me, and you know, like
Were
when
you
someone's
booed
going
off the plane?
Yeah, everyone was just looking, like snarling at me, like watching me as I go past. Got off the flight. Everyone had to get on another plane, and because I contaminated the flight. So that's
You're okay though, right? I mean, this
Yeah,
hasn't become
yeah.
a regular thing, has it?
no, never had another seizure again.
So you've had a spewing seizure on a plane. It's been brought down early
Yeah,
across America.
had to stay overnight in Sacramento because there wasn't a flight to go down to LA again. So I think a heap of people had to stay in Sacramento for a night.
I've always wanted to meet someone that's brought down a plane.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not a terrorist, but like not brought one down.
It's tough to meet them.
Caused an emergency landing.
Very good.
I think it's probably.
And you're the man. I can't believe that story is you.
Yeah, there you go. Actually made me decide to quit my job and go to journalism school. So,
Actually,
yeah, legit, yeah.
Where did that leap come from?
Yes, that's what I was-
seizure, or was it like like you were watching yourself from above, like looking down and going, "Look at that idiot!
Yeah.
You need to learn."
I was doing something else, wasn't really enjoying it, and then I wrote about the experience, put it up on Medium. Then on the flight between Sydney to Perth, sort of didn't like check it, of course. No, sorry, from Sydney to LA to Sydney. And then it had been shared like 67,000 times in like a day and a half.
What
And
a-
I was like, I wrote about it and I put it up on medium.com when that was a thing for a minute. And then it got shared and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then I registered for uni like a month later. And
Holy shit. I didn't know that part about
yeah,
it.
there you go.
Oh, it's an even better story than I thought it was.
Yep.
Just quickly,
Good.
So you've come out of the seizure and you're on the gurney.
Good.
And everyone's just like, this fucking dickhead. He's just having a massive night and he's just like
Yeah.
cooked himself and he's not having a seizure. We're pussy. But in that moment, were you a bit scared or you sort of like a bit dazed?
No, I was like, please don't land the flight.
Oh,
as
really?
soon as I came,
Yeah.
like as soon as I stopped spewing,
Yeah.
I could have run a marathon. I was feeling great.
Oh, don't know how quick you would have run it, mate.
Never run a marathon, but I'm sure I could have done it then.
Spewing seizures, not usually
And
the
then-
way to prepare for a
Probably
marathon.
Please
plus 4 hours, but yeah, go on.
I said, please don't land the flight. They did. And got off. And then the guy wanted to take me to hospital. I said, no, I'm not going to hospital. Then he said, think about this. You could be at home driving one day, kids in the car, and you go and have another seizure. Dead. Everyone. And he's like, you're willing to make that happen if you don't get checked out by the doctors? I was like, all right, I want to get home.
Did you have kids at that stage? That's outrageous.
No. He
Bow
was,
to be
he was like,
drawn.
think about this, another seizure, and like you kill family or something.
Okay.
That was his.
All right. That's what's happening on the Christmas party back chat. That's
Fun times.
Heavy.
Yes. It's heavy, but it's good. I mean, it's funny because you're here now. I hope people don't.
You laughed the entire way through that. And it's like, I almost died, and then I had a coming to moment. Oh, so that's how we're here now, because you're journalism. Oh, that's pretty cool. I forgot. I'll stop listening for a bit.
Yeah. True. I mean,
We can look back and laugh now.
Can you get the maker's mark just real quick, Dan? Sorry.
Perfect. We love this. Josh is here. For how long is this pod being going for? 10 minutes. Can I get another drink of whiskey? Let's see how much whiskey Josh can drink for this entire. Oh, that's good. That's fine. So, that's
That's a normal pour. That is a normal amount of whiskey.
I love this so much. Hello to our YouTube channel who is watching, and just let's see how much Josh can. Just keep track of how much. We won't let our listeners know, but we'll let our YouTubers watch how much you get through.
And if someone's watching from Maker's Mark, hit us up.
All right, there you go. Now, I do think we normally do sports here, and we probably haven't touched too much on sports. So,
Cycling.
I got a story about you, Charlie, which I'm going to save until we get a couple of their boys in the background. We got a story about you and a story about Sammy to kind of get through.
Let's keep it on the back
All
burner.
right, that's good. You spent a year in Poland.
I did. That's the teaser for that.
All right, there you go.
Jesus.
We're going to get into that. Yeah, he's survived too.
Sammy's not here, by the way. Just in case you're looking for another person.
Let's get to sports. We usually ask our guest,
Yes.
very important question, which I'm not going to ask right now, but it's usually about things you've done as a kid or junior in sporting realm. We found out at the Christmas party, 10-pin bowling
Yep.
formed a very big part of our cognitive state as junior
Juniors.
athletes.
Yeah.
And it may or may not have set us on the path to sporting excellence.
Yes.
Both Dan and I competitively bowled as juniors. I've got trophies at home.
What?
Not very big ones.
Okay,
10
we'll
pin.
get to it, but like, I'm just interested to see what the moment was where you're like, I want to do this. What was the...
I remember my team name. Does that help you?
No.
Oh, you were in a team.
I was.
okay.
I did do it myself.
A solo, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's something.
My parents were big bowlers.
Fuck off. No one has ever said that in Australia.
No, it was a family. You used to go a fair bit as a family. I think my dad was pretty good.
Oh, okay.
So then he had his own ball and a bag. He had a ball bag.
Okay.
Gosh.
And
No,
we
he
used to go
didn't.
down. Yeah. I think we've still got him. And then he used to take me down on the weekends for competitions.
Glove, wrist
I
guard.
think he would have had. Yeah, he would have done that. Yep.
Bunch
mean-
of ball bags heading down on the weekend.
I mean, I'm talking like under 9s and 10s.
Yeah,
I
so-
still
yeah.
had bumpers up at one stage.
Oh,
You moved on from bumpers.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had bumpers up. I was the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
It's a big time in my life.
Duos.
Yeah, I did it for 2 years.
Okay.
High score from you, Dan?
I think it was 153. Oh. Because I had. Did you have the badges?
Sorry.
Okay, so when you competitively bowl,
The what?
you get a pin, right? So as soon as you score 75, you get your 75 pin.
Oh,
Then
really?
on the pin, there's these little rings under it, and then they hang the next one, 100, 125. And so
Really?
you get these dangly pin with all your milestone things. And I'm pretty sure I had my 150 pin. It was it just dangles down.
I did not have that. Did you wear them in public with your
course.
Eagles jumper or something? Did you roll down the supermarket with your pins on?
That's probably the only thing that saved you on that flight from Portland. It's like, obviously, bowling town.
Yeah.
And
As
they're
I
like,
was-
whoa, let's bash the shit out of them. Wait, 150 pin.
Question. Portland, obviously a bowling town.
Oh, no, just USA. Big on bowling.
Okay.
Yeah, they
I,
love
was,
that
I,
Big
was- I
Lebowski.
thought Poland. I thought Portland was just widely renowned as a bowling town.
No. I just meant the US and Sarah.
Could be.
Sorry, I'll cut that one out, Charlie, please.
No, absolutely not. We don't do that here, mate. We're straight to the floor. I don't know what you've been operating, mate, but we're fully live here. No
So you-
cuts.
You're-
Especially you
so
pouring
don't-
yourself
you
big
don't remember
whiskeys.
your you don't remember your high school.
Sorry?
You don't remember your high
Talking
school?
to me. No, I don't think so. 134. I'll have to check with Mum, mate.
Yeah,
Mum's got my
that's
trophy at home. I will.
Cool, Jan. Josh, bowling?
Nah. It's like, nah, not really.
No, okay.
Too busy being cool, playing
Yeah,
basketball.
yeah, it's too busy. I did kung fu for a bit. That's probably my biggest lame moment. But
You don't
Hold-
have the body for that.
Hold any moments like that. I want to get to that shortly. Before we do get there, you know what? Actually, we'll work this into this. I want to get to a bit of the Josh Garlepp story.
Okay.
Is that all right with you, Dan?
Of course.
Josh, you okay with that, mate?
Yeah.
So we ask our guests, the very first question we ever ask is, want your best sporting moment, not in your chosen field. Now, we're not going to use journalism. We're going to use basketball. You want to give us the best thing you've ever done on a sporting pitch, field, track, wherever you like, judo ring or whatever you said before, taekwondo, not on the basketball court.
Okay. Well, all the guys, I was actually at a party the other day and there was a bunch of guys from high school there. And you have this innate ability to forget the most embarrassing moments from high school until that you see that person every 3 years.
Yeah.
And then they brought up that in the Belt Up Cup, which is year 9 in Perth, our
footy?
Yeah, I got selected for the semi-final and our school was in it. And they were like, you know what, we're going to bring Josh into this. Bloody good endurance. Put him on the best player in the state and under 15s. I pretty much lost us the game. They remembered it. But probably my best thing where I actually did okay was I was an okay cross-country runner. Tall, lanky, not much like muscle to pump around. So I came second.
Weak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's not weak.
Skinny.
Yes, very weak. And so I think I came every year. We had the same guy that would win cross country at high school, and then one year I was like, I'm going to practice for this, and I came second. So everyone was always playing for second. Sam May, if you're out there, Sam May would just destroy it by 5 minutes,
Right.
and then I got.
So you beat him.
No, I came second, but like it was the best second because Sam May always won. Yeah. And then it was me. So that was probably the best thing I ever did was came second at cross country.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Correct. Dan actually retired last week. His trophy. Said we wouldn't speak about it again, so I can't speak about it. But Scott Boland had a lot to do with it last week. We're putting Dan's trophy into ashes. So if anyone is listening or watching,
yes, we need someone that owns a furnace or something that can make a trophy into ashes that we can put in a little urn.
There's something spiritual in that too, because I suppose like you probably haven't moved on until you do that. Like
no, I haven't.
There's a lot of you that still is there, and if you burn that, spread the ashes, I guess a lot of you could perform better in the day to day.
I also love that there are genuinely people that listen to this that despise the fact that I bring it up every week.
Yeah, well,
I love
it.
It almost just motivates me to bring it back.
Well, we did say we wouldn't speak about it, and we've just spoken about it for a minute.
Let's go. Yeah.
Tell me about your coffee story, Dan.
All right.
What do you got for me?
I want to tell a story to Josh about something that I've never told you about, but it involves you.
Okay.
So Josh and I have known each other for about 4 years. Sort of met when I was working at the Wildcats.
Yep.
You were working for Fox Sports.
Yeah.
Yep.
Disenchanted, working at Fox Sports News.
Yep. Used to pop in press conferences wearing suit sometimes. No, I was wearing a suit. You were wearing a button-up. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Dishevelled suit,
Yep.
Good.
Josh came over to my house one time.
I know where you're going with this.
Oh, maybe I have told you.
Nah.
Josh came over to the house one time and brought some coffees. Was hanging out. Brought a couple of coffees over.
What was he doing at your house?
We were catching up.
Oh, so you're friends?
Yeah. At that point, we had we'd text back and forth. We had some ideas that were fleshing out with each other, and we said let's catch up for coffee. You graciously brought 2 coffees over to my house, and Josh, if you're listening to this, I'll describe him, and if you're watching, you can see Josh is about 7 foot in shoes,
very tall,
and maybe 150 kegs. On a good day, so he's a big unit.
Minus 60, but
he's solid. He's solid. So when Josh gets a coffee, I assume he gets a big one.
Yes.
Yeah. I think on that day he ordered 2 extra large flat whites. Brought them over.
Yep.
You remember that order?
Yeah.
I don't know where this story's going.
Well, why would anyone get a small one? If you're getting a cappuccino, may as well get a biggest one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine.
Me
that's
firing
fine.
up.
Fair.
No, it's fine. 100% appreciated the coffees. But what I didn't tell Josh at the time, and I was trying to be polite, is that I'm like severely lactose intolerant.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so I drank it.
No, you didn't.
I started.
Why?
Because I was trying to be polite. I didn't want
Of course you did,
So
mate.
I
Just say I can't drink this.
And so I drank about 2/3 of it, like just as I'm drinking, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be sick.
Had a spewing seizure. Then
I do remember you rushing me out pretty quick.
And then as Josh is leaving, he had his empty cup and he's like, oh, do you want me to take yours? And because I had so much left in it, I didn't want him to think that I wasn't appreciative of the coffee, and I thought I better finish this. So I sculled like an ounce of milk or whatever.
Oh my God.
like a,
What you?
and I reckon I was sick for like a day and a half.
Oh my God. No wonder that project we were talking about never came to fruition.
So the joke's now on you, Josh. That's poison you're
Yeah.
drinking. Josh is going to be
We
sick.
got you now. This being a long ruse.
Yeah, I've thought about that moment a lot.
Oh my, I didn't know that at all.
Every time I think about you, I think, oh man,
That is funny, man.
lactose. And
There's so many funny moments. Like, why do you just not say, I don't want that?
because the man came to my house and brought coffees, I wasn't going to go, no thanks.
I would have been offended. In my culture, that would be offended. I would be like, how dare you?
Yeah, there you go.
what
So I
culture
drank
is-
maybe 2.5 litres of milk that day. I think that's the last time I ever drunk milk. I think that was the first milky coffee I'd had in like 8 years.
How do you
What'd you
feel
think?
about how do you feel about that?
I'm
feeding,
I'm
force
pretty
feeding.
impressed by like
So
his
am I.
I don't know, devotion to manners.
Yeah. No,
Mike's playing by the rules, Dan. Don't know if you know about
The
it.
saying is manners cost nothing, but in this case, they cost about 2 days of your life, and you had
Yeah.
a small child at the time.
yeah.
Well
There you go.
done. I loved that story probably more than anyone else, but I can just imagine your mind like, I can't not drink this. Like, the guys bought me a $2 coffee. Like, what am I meant to do?
No,
Just
it would
pour
have
it out?
been a
and-
It was
$5.50.
$6, but yeah.
Okay, well, I doubt it. Inflation. That's been there as well. Now, all right, back on Josh Garlepp, right? You mentioned a little bit before, Fox Sports news reporter. You did mention you used to be some sort of respected journalist, I'm assuming.
Mainstream strong word.
Mainstream media.
Yes.
You worked in that.
Yeah. I was so I finished a broadcasting course. I was an engineer for a period, and then when I was playing basketball, I had a really misguided thought that I could make something of myself, and then but the whole time I did engineering, finished that, worked for a bit, and realised it's not really for me. And the whole time I was listening to podcasts, a lot of Bill Simmons, a lot of Joe Rogan back in the day when it was early days, and then a lot of like American podcasts. And then I went into broadcasting, and straight out of that, I got a job at Fox Sports in Sydney, in the newsroom there. And that was when they were like hemorrhaging money because I was spending it so poorly.
Yes.
And 6 months in, they made everyone redundant.
So you got a job there for 6 months and then gone? Or
No,
you-
actually, it was 3 months in. So I left my girlfriend in Perth, and we did long distance. It went terribly. Ex-girlfriend now, and
Okay, not funny.
and
sort of funny.
well, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But and then but it was really good though because I went in there and I remember meeting a guy because I was pretty old when I was there. I was like 26. I remember meeting a journo, and everyone there was so arrogant. Like if you're ever in that studio setting of everyone thinks they're the funniest person in the room. Everyone thinks they're the loudest, needs to be the loudest person in the room. And it was really good. But as an intern and then a like grad, you're like, I'm not going to speak really.
Ground feeder. Like you just need to just lay low.
Yeah. I actually had this funny time. A guy's my mate now. He was texting me, not realizing he was texting me because I was working for another place as well. And he's seen a number and said, hey, do you want to cover my shift? So he's like 2 meters away. He doesn't know my name because he hasn't bothered to learn it. And he's texting me going, hey, bro, like, do you want to cover my shift? Like, they'll be effing sick. And I'm like, hey, Adrian, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. No worries. Like, yeah, cool. So then I started fucking with him. I was like, you look great today. And then I would see him do this, like, look around. And then when he eventually realized it was me, he was so, like, lying to me and himself that he actually knew my name or anything. He's like, oh man, bro, you're the best. Anyway, that was the environment. It's like
So that summarises
everyone topping each other and stuff like that. But it was a really cool place and everyone was really nice. But that was my first gig, so that's when I started my journey.
So starting there, and then you've worked back here in Perth. I reckon I saw you commentating the NBL at one stage.
Yeah, so everyone got made redundant. We all reapplied for jobs. I was the only person in my position, which was called editorial assistant, that rocked up in a suit. And then they're like, oh, do you want to be a reporter? I was like, yes, okay. Would you want to be in Perth? I was like, oh, it's a pretty good place. Yeah, I might want to go back. So then 9 months after going into Sydney, I moved back to Perth as their video journalist. And then my brother played in the NBL for 10 years. So he was actually really good at basketball, pretty good at basketball. But
Sound bitter.
No, I've very much come to terms with that. After years of therapy and acceptance. No, my brother's one of my best friends, but I had a connection with basketball and they offered me a job commentating the NBL straight away. And it was unreal. It was the best feeling ever because the NBL, you can't even compare the audiences, which I've come to realise is when you're in basketball, you think the NBL is the world Dan, you love basketball as well and been in that with Wildcats, but you can't actually compare the size of the audience AFL v NBL.
Oh, yeah.
Prime example, Wildcats and Eagles win the premiership, championship respectively in the same year. 50,000, 60,000 people, the foreshore versus 800 people in Forest Chase. And they do a fantastic job, but it's just the scale is not there.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And they used to...
you get that.
And they used to schedule... They would have both schedules released around about the same time. Well, sorry, the AFL schedule released after the NBL season, and they'd be really bitter when there'd be like a 2:30 Eagles game on a Sunday and a 2:20 Wildcats game, because they're like, well, no one's coming to that. Like, they know that they're... the Wildcats knew that they weren't going to get people coming to the games.
It's frustrating because they're such a successful club and I obviously love them. But anyway, so I was part of the commentary there my first year, and I was like, I'm doing great. Got given 3 games, ended up being 15 or something. And then at the end of the season, they cut me because they went to a hub. And that's kind of when I sort of started to realise, like, I'm nearing 30. I'm a white guy. I have no distinguishing feature as a journalist by itself. Like, what can I do differently? And I'd always loved comedy. I wrote comedy, but I never showed anyone. And it wasn't until a couple of years later where that sort of skill, sort of light bulb moment realised, like, that might be the point of difference.
But after NBL commentary, you working with the West Australian?
Yeah, so for a couple of years there.
You still stayed in the mainstream, right?
Yeah.
You didn't just go, all right, I've got a bit of funny bone. I'm going to go do my own thing.
I do. No, I love sports media. I love sports journalism. I'm obsessed with it a bit. Like, any book that comes out about it, I read it because I want to try and understand it better, because I think it's both important and annoying and hilarious. I love it all. Dan may talk about it a lot, but after we got made redundant for a second time at Fox...
They love you down there.
Oh, yeah. For anyone listening, if you ever get a call from your boss who doesn't really like you and HR just happens to be in the call and when it's 8 a.m. at your new when it's 8 a.m. at your new girlfriend's place and oh, hey, Elise, how you going? And then she goes, so-and-so from HR's on the call. I'm like, okay. It's a bad idea. Like, you're in a bad way. But we got made redundant, and from that point I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to have a crack at comedy stuff now. And I was really lucky because the West gave me a job straight away.
Yes.
I think you also did one shift at the ABC. Maybe it was more than one, but one when I worked on it as well.
I did a couple of things with Grandstand. I worked in Sydney with ABC 24 while I was there, just trying to like make money.
Given you're such a big fan of sports journalism and the sporting landscape, how do you feel it is positioned right now in Australia, not globally? How do you think the coverage is in sports journalism? Come on, you can be honest now.
I think it's a bit boring sometimes, and that's only because we have a couple key players. We have Fox 7, 9. There's key players, and then occasionally other people join in.
Yeah,
and they're always copycatting. They're always like, "Hey, what's going on in the US? We need that here." And if anything we've learned from the US is that sometimes less is more.
Oh, yeah.
In broadcast, we don't need 7 or 9 people on an AFL game. To be like, let's now go to Abby on the sideline. Yeah, it's cold. Oh, let's go upstairs now to, someone else, like here. And it's like, let's go to Mooney on now. He's like, yeah, I used to play with that guy. Oh, let's go here. Let's have a joke. And it's like, we need 10 seconds of banter. It's like, and then it goes, and let's go back here. Let's do that. And so, well, you're like 18 minutes. You have to fill it with 9 people. They need to be hit 30 seconds each. The intro, outro is 2 minutes each way. Well, it ends up being 10 minutes, and then it's 10 minutes between 8 people, and then it's silly. So I think there's nothing wrong with it, but I just think that less is more sometimes with that. I don't know.
It needs space. Well, no, it needs space. I agree with you. I reckon I'm pretty similar to you. Like, I've worked across multiple platforms. I've worked on podcasts for a long time, but I've done Channel 7, I've done Fox Footy, I've done ABC, I've done 6PR, I've done special comments, I've hosted my own show. I've been kind of across most mediums, done TV shows, whatever. I think most lack space, and what you're talking about is less is more. Like, okay, if you've got a good guest on, can you just keep talking to them and not cross down to Abby and cross up to Moons and cross out to Josh and then get a weather update and go up to the blimp and get the bird's eye view? There's no space in all forums. I don't think there's many forums that there is space.
A prime example is Toby Green and Luke Hodge. Just as Toby Green had bumped the umpire, what's his name?
Yeah,
is it Starcevich? I forget.
Starovich.
I'm pronouncing it wrong regardless.
It could be Starcevich.
But he's widely renowned as one of the best umpires in the comp. And
Stavich.
Sorry. And Luke Hodge goes to him and speaks to him and basically says, it was an accident, hey, answers his question for him, he goes back. But that's not necessarily his fault. That's not necessarily... Like, Toby's going to be like, yeah, easy way out. But
And Hodge has 2 questions.
Hodge has 2 questions. He's got someone in his ear. People forget that. Someone's like, "Durr!" Also, he's not trying to burn a bridge because he wants the contract too. And I think when I lost that was another thing too with the NBL thing, losing that, because I have no bitter feeling about that whatsoever. It was actually a really good learning experience, but it's just, there's something really powerful in owning the content you produce. And unfortunately, Australia has about 22 million people, whereas the US is 350 million. And so whenever people try to emulate that, it's harder to replicate because there sometimes just isn't the money advertising-wise and eyeballs and stuff like that.
That's good.
Sorry for just screaming at you guys for like 10 minutes.
That's good. You're the guest, mate. You're not the host. You're meant to talk. We're just meant to invigilate your personality. That's what you do.
We're a conduit to the people. You.
What are you doing now then? So, given that you've bounced around, you've played... Oh, actually, before I get there, you've played... Don't look at my computer.
Okay, sorry. I just saw Josh Garlepp and Pro Ballers that you screenshotted.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I just want to go through some stats. Hey, you
Look
can...
at these before till now.
I'm exactly the same. This is from Charlie. Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, anytime. I did that.
This sort of material Charlie delivers here at BackChat, Josh.
There's one glaringly obvious thing to say about your game just from a quick glance.
We are looking at Josh Garlepp's regular season averages as his time in the SBL. And now it must be noted it's not the NBL, but it's almost the NBL.
It's a step.
Can't wait to qualify it. Be like, well, that week I was bad that week. And
I gave you a bit. I'll just go with your regular season averages, 21 points a game.
I'm pretty sure that was Norway.
Yeah, absolutely was. Yeah, absolutely was, Charlie. Is that right, Charlie?
Those I realised that after I found those stats, that those are the Norwegian stats.
You've got a microphone over there. Don't you dare sit over there and let me dig a hole for myself. Hey, Scoey, that's not the NBL. So that's not the SBL.
No, after I put that in.
So you played in Norway.
That's right,
Yeah,
Norway.
Yeah. So my brother was...
You just happened to forget
I
about
know,
mentioning
I
going
know.
to Norway to play basketball.
Sorry, mate. We don't care about you getting sacked from Fox Footy for like twice in a row. You played basketball in
twice in a
Norway,
year.
mate.
it was a weird year. I moved to Bendigo to it's a weird
Let's
thing.
go Spirit.
Sorry,
Spirit, Bendigo Spirit.
no Braves.
Oh,
Appropriately named, randomly named, but it's a really big club because they're actually backed by the Pokies. So the Pokey side of it can't exist without the basketball side. So they just keep adding courts because they're making like $100,000 a month or something when I was there.
No doubt.
Anyway. So I was playing there and then with my brother who was like the big signing and then I was the other guy and he brought me in and that was my first sort of like professional basketball thing. It's really fun, really good experience, but it's a grind, mate. Like my brother played back-to-back seasons every year for like 8 years and for a long period he couldn't actually drive longer than 20 minutes without lying down in the car because he was in so much pain because tall guy and stuff like that.
Cooked.
And I think like it's hard to speak to someone from an AFL background because everyone seems to have lingering effects from those.
Well, I mean, it's not hard. It's perfect, isn't it? Like, you can talk to me about this stuff, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, what are you here? Sorry,
we played football for years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Perfect. But anyway, so had that, and then straight after, I was doing this engineering degree. The only place they would send me was Trondheim, Norway, and so I immediately emailed the coach and was like, "Hey,
The basketball team or who would send you to Norway?
I had an engineering degree, and I was like, I don't want to stop doing this engineering degree. My dad will kill me.
Like a study abroad.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is study abroad. So then I looked, because my grades weren't great, they were like 64%. And at UWA, we had to be 65 to even offer. They said, you can only go to this one place if you don't have enough people that want to go there. So it was halfway up Norway, and it was awesome. Like going from Bendigo there was really fun.
No shit.
Yeah,
Bendigo's a shithole, mate.
I remember driving through the streets of Norway in the middle of summer, and I was like head out the window like the Joker on that movie Joker, like Joaquin Phoenix, and the cab driver was like, "You're gonna love it here, bro." And there was just like people on bicycles everywhere and blonde hair everywhere. Anyway, ended up contacting the coach, and they ended up paying my way there, and anywhere we traveled, it was fuck all, but like I got to see the whole country, went to Sweden a couple of times, had a great time, and our team was so bad.
You were good. 21 points, 7.5 rebounds, half an assist a game. How about
Yeah,
sharing
that's-
around, big fella?
Is it honestly half an assist?
0.6. How about just passing around? a little?
Refuse.
That's less than one a game.
Oh man, we had a couple of very inexperienced guys that thought they were really good. And then we had me. I was a nightmare to play with, honestly. I regret, like, I have shudders thinking how I played. But I met some really nice people there. A guy called Simon, who I still speak to. He invited me to Christmas and stuff. And
Holy shit.
it was really fun. Like, it was really fun. We famously lost to, we lost to this Swedish...
Westbrook or something?
Yeah. We lost to this Swedish team in a preseason game. They were Östersund or something like that
Yes.
by 60 points. And, like... I was like screaming at the team because they couldn't dribble, and I was such a dickhead. And in reality, I should have accepted for what it was, which is like just to enjoy this experience. But I'm like grumpy and like, man, should be going to NBA. and we lost for 60 points, and they had like 3 imports and stuff like that. But yeah.
When you got a question over? I hear you
No, I
breathing.
was
You got a
just about to
question
say,
over?
I have finally found his SBL stats.
They're not as impressive.
Give them to me, Charlie.
All right, so points per game, 6.52.
Yeah.
Wait, what season though? Because I played about 13 seasons.
This has just got season statistics. It's not a great website, I'll be honest. Trying to figure this out.
Thank you, Charlie.
Give me a minute.
You would know what
Sounds like Josh
No,
knows.
that's about right. It was like a bell curve, but very narrow. Where like I came back from Bendigo.
Like a pyramid.
No,
This looks like your last season.
Like a penis.
Oh no, last.
Yeah, right.
Is that what it always is, Dan? How do you put up with this, mate?
I don't know.
No, I was okay. I was okay. I took terrible shots in, like, I think about my basketball career. Had no patience. Was completely different to how my personality. Got tech fouls all the time, and it was because I was angry. I wasn't better at the sport, and I put a lot of time into
It
it.
really sounds like me. You sound like me in basketball form.
Except you won a premiership and
yeah,
were
that's
good.
I was
Went to the
hoping you'd
top.
say that.
I've played a lot of basketball.
Go on.
Try to get you play on my team several times. You refused constantly.
Okay.
Why
Big
did I
guys
not
always try to play like guards, and guards always want to play like big men. Were you the same? Are you trying to dribble the ball and like were you because you would have been a big at that point?
Yeah, I think one year I shot like 23% from 3, but like put up like over 100 shots from 3. I grew into my body a bit, and yeah, like when I play social comp, I don't go in the keyway because I don't want to get taken out by
Yeah.
a weekend warrior.
Like Dan, because that's what you are.
No, yep.
When you were a mainstream respected journalist, is that what you were?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did you ever cover me?
Yeah, heaps of times. And this is the funny thing about it is I thought, I actually was texting you before, and I thought I was at your retirement presser, but I wasn't. I was thinking of Eric McKenzie, and which was it was a really lovely presser. I was at, but I went to a lot of your press conferences, and it's funny when you're at the West because you're churning out cat sat on the mat type articles, which is just the nature of the
Explain what that means.
This is like a friend of mine, Glenn Quartermain, who's a really good writer. He's won a Walkley for his stuff with Polly Farmer. But it's cat sat on the mat. It's like Will Schofield has injury, he will miss game. It's information that needs to be, it will get a click because it's information for the fan.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like not hard. It's like plug and play.
And it's not who cares, but it's also like, there it is.
It's also a bit of history too, because then it's there forever.
Right.
And then it's somehow, because West Coast don't really like manage their injury list that well.
No, they don't give anything on anyone. They hide everything that's happening.
Exactly. Like, so it's up to
I would say that's not just West Coast though.
yeah, for sure. I'm not blaming them. Yeah.
No, I couldn't care less. But like AFL in general, compare it to any other sport, there is this not myth, but like this surrounding kind of ruminating figure that means that clubs don't want to be truthful about injuries.
Yeah.
Because there's no consequence for saying, oh yeah, there's a hamstring, he's gonna be out for 2 weeks when it's a tendon injury, and they know he's out 8 weeks. Like they know 2 days after. They have scans, but it just doesn't get populated across media. It's kind of weird. You would have experienced that.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand the coach's perspective and the team's perspective.
Can you? What is that perspective?
0.1% advantage. If this somehow in the sand the way the things fall, that I have a slight advantage because the coach.
What's the advantage? Please
coach is
tell me.
planning for Will Schofield to be out there over Tom Barras.
It just doesn't make a difference. Even if it's a big player that gets late withdrawn, it really doesn't make a difference. Like you're still going to do what you're going to do. Like there's just not that much. There is opposition, obviously, like playing with taggers like Hutchie and things like that. if it's his direct player, it might affect just him personally, but as a team, there's still going to be another player playing. Like, I just found it as a player just hilarious, the cloak that would get pulled over any injury details. Like, it's an injury. Just give the details.
But what about if you think Buddy's going to play, surely a defense is not like the entire defense, but like a bit of a defensive game plan is that.
Honestly, there's a couple of high fives that happen in the change rooms. If Buddy Franklin's are laid out, it's like, yeah, Buddy's not playing. But they don't bring in nobody. They're not as good as Buddy, but they can, like, they're on an AFL list. Like, they can still play.
Sam Reid's pretty good.
Correct. They bring in Sam Reid. They bring in a Matt Spanger. He was in his team for a while.
Yeah.
You're still going to play on Matt Spanger. It's not like there's no one running around. It's just like a little less quality. But in the end, like, one player can't win games of footy. Yeah, Dusty Martin's done it a few times for Richmond, but like, that's why I just find it's ridiculous. It should be. There's so many things that are related to injuries now. Like, fantasy footy is starting to play a big part of sports. Betting, even bigger. You can't have teams lying about what's going on, which is exactly what happens. Teams lie about injuries right now.
Have you ever had an experience as a player where, and you might have heard this as well, Dan, from Will speaking, but have you had an experience where you were kind of like, why is my club getting so pissed off about this? Why are they being so cagey about this?
Yes.
Like, it doesn't matter. In the scheme of things, this does not matter, but at the same time, like, I'm contracted to them. I'm not going to piss anyone off.
Injuries are one. I used to think it all the time. Like, first-hand knowledge, someone would be not playing. Everyone, all the players, all the coaches know he's not playing, but he's named in the team.
Yeah.
He's a late withdrawal. Geelong are an absolute serial offender of doing it. And it's now past a joke with them that you know that they're going to pull someone out. Like, someone's coming out. Someone's going to be held over from the week before and then go out. That's one. Another one was, like, excuse me, things that happen in the media that weekly at a footy club get made into a big deal. So if a player gives an honest interview with the West or on a podcast or on a radio station, and the West or podcasts or radio stations do what they do, which is pull grabs out of it, take it out of context, it becomes a huge deal for that week, to the point where players are getting pulled into offices. Why'd you say that? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that? And so players, by nature, just become so caged and closeted about anything that's going on because they don't want to fuck up. They don't want to get in trouble. And that happens weekly. But then as soon as the week's over, just like the news cycle, same in the footy club, like, it's a new week, and it's Scully said something stupid last week, but yeah, go do exactly the same show that you've been doing for the last, but don't stuff up this time. Like, it's just like, it's a weird thing. It happens weekly, like every week. I don't know. Got anything to add there?
I think you've gone off.
All right, good. There's a little bit of a rant, wasn't it?
It's fine.
I enjoyed it. That was good.
What are you doing now, Josh? So, well, mate, you've just told us about your basketball career. Absolutely
What are you
blossoming.
playing? Are you sporting at the moment?
Oh, no, I'm old now, so I just play 3-on-3 with my mates at Donny Tarko in West Perth.
What are you doing?
So we have a podcast with a Spotify original podcast. Full credit. It's
First time Josh has looked at the camera while he's plugging his own podcast.
bit of a comedy. It's a bit different. If you have a bit of an edge, you'll like this. No, I always, and what I spoke to Dan originally was, I always thought that the gap in the Australian market for podcasts, and if I ever was going to do one, because people are always like, no, you should bloody do a podcast. Oh, you bloody funny fucker.
Everyone, you just do a podcast.
And
They're easy.
There's about 10 million of them. So I always thought, okay, what's like one skill you could have that puts you, the skill moat. Have you guys ever read anything about that? Like the skill moat? Like something to be...
Love to go for a swim in that.
No, it's like, okay.
But that keeps things out of the castle, doesn't it?
What is something you could do that can't be replicated?
Yeah, right.
Easily. Someone actually has to put in effort to. So I know comedy stuff's pretty easy. TikTok stuff, anyone can sort of access it. So I was kind of thinking with the podcast, no one does audio packages for sport in Australia. ESPN do a heap in the US. There was the Sterling tapes, which is unbelievable, about Don Sterling. They take a lot of effort so people don't do them. It's about hours on the board.
Explain what an audio package is.
So it's just like an audio documentary. When you listen to one on the ABC, when you listen, you probably don't realise it, but when it's like, basically someone has sorted all the information for you and presented in a way that it's 9 minutes succinct, and you would do a lot at the ABC. So there's potentially 9 interviews, and it tells a story like a documentary, where things have been cut, added music, added sound effects and stuff. So
But you don't have any pictures to rely on.
yes, exactly. And it actually makes it easier, obviously, because you don't have to match sound with the visual. But I just realised there was nothing like that, because it's a lot easier to just be like, hey, what if two blokes just got a couple mics and started a podcast? Yeah. But in saying that, it's different for you guys.
No,
right?
but it's good. It's good.
No, you guys are doing it. No, but
It's different.
completely different, because you guys have somewhat not.
Dig up. You're right.
Any more whiskey? Anyway, but me personally, I had nothing like that, which was always the case with like the NBL thing. What's my point of difference? And with this, I was like, okay, what if every week we did an investigation into something funny? I always found it really funny when people put heaps of resources into something extremely stupid or something that didn't mean anything.
I mean, I heard you do the little piece on Mike Whitney.
That was awesome, though.
And
Yep.
I completely loved it. I told you about it. My brother, or Mike Whitney, for those who don't know or watch it, he played Test cricket for Australia. Very good. He was sort of like a medium pace type, all round type guy. He's sort of off spinny kind of. I don't know what he was doing. He's bowling
Paceman.
Yeah, there you go. In the middle there somewhere. But he was probably more commonly known in Australia for hosting Who Dares Wins, one of the greatest, and Gladiator, of course. But Who Dares Wins, one of the greatest TV shows of all time, in my opinion.
Second only possibly to late night game show with hot dogs, which is another.
Well, that is very
Correct.
Very,
You guys were talking about a big guest coming up. Was it hot dogs?
Untouchable.
Mike Whitney, my brother, won a segment on Who Dares Wins.
You sent me this immediately.
I sent you the actual footage of it.
Yeah,
which I thought I got
I
quite
haven't
quickly.
seen that.
Oh fuck! I need
What did he
to actually use that in the pod. But yeah, go on.
My brother won a segment on Who Dares Win for 100. You do this, we'll give you $100.
Yeah.
They used to do stupid shit on Who Dares Wins, like eat this whole bucket of slugs, and we'll give you $100.
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah.
Rom had to ski across an icy lake. My brother Rom, fully clothed. It was at Falls Creek, but it was long, it's good 20, 25 meters, and no one could do it. And he's come off the absolute long run and skied across, straight across, $100, easy as you like.
It's not
There you
much
go.
money for doing pretty good feed.
I mean, it was back in probably 2000s, late 90s. No, 90s.
They buy a house around here.
$4,000. Yeah.
Buy a house around here.
And that's not much. Yeah, so, okay, you're doing a podcast. You make funny videos.
Yeah, so we do that. That's a bit of extra money, but the good thing about the podcast is I'm going back to having all money, but the good thing about the podcast is you don't have to like say yes to, hey, this is the sickest laxative I've ever had. Like I drink it all the time. You know what I mean? You don't have to do the promo for no reason.
Yes.
You can do it if it works and you think, oh, you know what, like there might be a joke in there or something. So we do some stuff with Gage Rhodes, which is good because like I actually drink the beer quite often. So it made sense to just like, well, if we're going to drink a beer in this video, we may as well have Gage Rhodes in it.
Good.
So we do
cut beers out of this podcast.
Yeah, good point. You
Went to whiskey.
yeah.
It's there's a bit to the throat while you're talking. Bit
We'll find it.
bit throaty.
We'll find the right liquid to drink.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm on water at the moment. That's worked a treat.
whiskeys would be nice. I'd
Water's
be happy
been
to be
good
sponsored by West.
water has a track record of being a good.
Yeah, generally good.
But sorry to finish it. On top of that, just doing. I think the end goal is just to be free to make whatever we want at all times. So I think we want to do serious stuff eventually, but we'll do longer form stuff down the line.
Good. All right. Well, we're in the podcasting realm, so that's Josh Garlepp, everybody.
Yep.
As Josh Garlepp finishes the entire bottle of whiskey here on BackChat 2.0.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that anymore. It's BackChat podcast.
Not even podcasts.
It's just BackChat.
Yeah.
All right, BackChat, YouTube, subscribe. Get on there, subscribe. I haven't mentioned Patreon for a while. We have some incredible support from Patreon. You got that over at Spotify, whatever you're doing, mate? No, I didn't think so.
What's Patreon?
There you go, mate. Our beautiful listeners, they support us. We basically said to them, if they think they could afford maybe a coffee a week.
A month. No, coffee a month.
Sorry. If you could afford a large, flat white for lactose intolerant Dan,
Yep.
an extra large one, once a week, $4.50, $5. Once a month, jump on Patreon. So they support us. We got a big crew of guys over there. So I thought I'd just give a little shout out to the Patreon guys.
We do love them.
Want to support the podcast? Don't sign up with Spotify. We'll keep it independent over here. That is one thing that we're doing that you haven't done.
Why are you pointing my face?
This is
You. You're sold out there. No, I mean we've stayed independent, which means we have absolutely no money whatsoever.
Yeah.
But it also means we do get to control every single little bit of what we're doing, which is sort of what you were talking about before, about having control over what you're doing. That's what we've been enjoying. So we built ourselves our own studio right here in my house.
I mean, I'm loving the plants, by the way. These are unreal.
Mum, the meatloaf. All right, you send it, we read it. Another great segment, not as good as social media. Basically, we ask people, and when I say people, our listeners, our watchers, to send in emails and we read it.
Okay.
You send it, we read it.
But whatever you send, we have to read. People have sent us plugs for their
Promos?
business.
Yep.
Whatever.
And you've read them.
Yep.
We read them out because that's our rule.
Yeah, you send it, we read it. Do you not understand the title? You send it, we read it. Is that not
Charlie
clear?
doesn't filter anything.
No, absolutely not. Does he look like a filter?
Go Command C, Command V into the rundown. That's it.
He's not a sieve, mate. He just produces it. All right, here we go. Give it to Josh. You want to give it to
All right.
Josh?
Hey, boys. That's including you. This is from Kane Smith. The recent talk about Masto and relieving himself on the field in the huddle rang a bell about something in the 90s. That's having a wee on the field.
You would have seen
The West Australian published a photo of the Fremantle Dockers huddle on the back page of their paper. It was a jovial Scott. On it was a jovial Scott Waters, but they didn't proof check it, and he had his privates out and he was chucking a whiz. Not the only time they did it for a Fremantle player, they also accidentally published an on-field photo of Paul Hazelby. I remember that, with his privates hanging out of his shorts as well. They seem to have worked on their proof-checking skills since then. Cheers. No question. Just want to bring that up.
Yeah, and it would have been nice for you to read it properly, but it is another part of this segment is Dan can't read the actual...
It's actually pretty hard if you haven't pre-read.
No, it's not actually. It's pretty easy. Do it quite often. Do it for a job, actually, hosting on 6PR every day. It's quite easy.
They don't write anything for you to read.
Absolutely they do, mate. Well, how do you think I do the COVID updates? You think I know I'll give a shit about the COVID updates from Mark McGowan? Oh, please tell me, Mark. Tell me more about COVID. Shut the hell up. I read it straight off the
You're always
teleprompter.
texting me. You're always like 7,000.
You're not Mark McGowan. Now, this is relevant because the West Australian,
Yep, love it.
your
Oh, can you get at me, face? You got one whiskey.
your segment. How many have you had? Your previous employer.
Yep.
They did it twice. Spoken to Hayes about this. Hayes got quite a decent payout because they published his penis on the
Yep.
front, on the back page of the paper.
They made a joke about it at this at the AFL Media Awards this year.
You won an award there,
Yeah.
did you not?
Yeah, I did. But that wasn't the segue I was looking for.
But please do. What award is it? What award did you win?
Best use of social media for our campaign to get Perth the grand final.
Which you did.
How do you get included into sports media when effectively you've stepped out of sports media?
I'm creating sports media, am I not?
I'm not saying you're not
independent.
in it, but I would say that people in sports media here in WA
Yeah.
don't see you as sports media.
Who have you spoken? Who said that?
Me, out of my mouth
At
right
the
now.
time, I was working in the West, and to be honest, like Nick Rinn, who's the editor at the West, was extremely generous to. I don't know, a lot of employers would have got angry with the fact I was just creating stuff that was saying whatever. They would have got nervous about it.
Which is hilarious. This is footy. It's the same with footy.
Yeah.
It's about doing things that are on your own mind.
Free thought, I think, and he encouraged it, and so I was officially under the West Australian banner during that, even though we did it outside. But to be honest, like it would have been a Fox situation otherwise. Do you know what I mean?
We kind of skimmed over it a little bit, like your funny videos, right? You've had some quite viral moments over the last couple of years. I know you're a funny guy and you do the funny thing, but like, what's that like when something goes big, like viral? We're talking millions of views. Is that a good feeling? Does that impact you at all? Does that mean anything to you?
I think it used to. A lot.
Okay. So first time it ever happened, you had like a big video that went like, I don't know.
Yeah, we had this like pubs are back one when there was like, and it was the first time I was getting into it because when I'd given it up and my friend lives in the Cayman Islands and someone from England sent it to him in the Cayman Islands independently, and I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. And I think
just tax evading his life away in the Cayman Islands. What's he doing in the Cayman Islands?
I'm not allowed to talk about that.
Sorry, continue.
No, he's a lawyer, so yeah, he's
absolutely
just not paying tax. Yeah,
Great.
Really good friend. He actually just came back for his wedding, broke his ankle on the wedding night, because he lost his key trying to get in. Poor bloke. Anyway,
That's a rough.
so probably that, and then a couple other times. But to be honest, like we haven't had that many. We're still so small, but occasionally we have things that break through. And and it's such a niche. It's still quite niche, like AFL content. So when it breaks through, it's great.
Is that the goal? Like
Stuff to break through.
Yeah. Like, is that why you're doing it?
To be honest, yes and no. So yes, you're like, that is the feedback loop that you're doing something right, that people reciprocate the idea. But then at the same time, if you start pandering to an audience like TikTok, then it's like, then you're just pouring mayonnaise on yourself and like punching a pig and then screaming into the camera, because a lot of that algorithm is like, just get any reaction that stops people scrolling. That's the whole point. So I think sometimes it's like, we did one about Packed to the Rafters, which is like the smallest nichest audience ever a month ago. And
When Fix You comes on.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. When Mel dies. And we did that, and that was only because we found it funny. So occasionally it is like that, and it's probably been to our detriment, to be honest, because we're still nothing, do you mean? In my head, every day I wake up, I've done nothing.
I've
Are
got
you okay, bro?
No, it's a
You've
good
done
thing.
lots. You just told us you've done a whole podcast, mate.
went to Norway. Can we go back to this question, if that's
Sorry,
about the West? Because I remember texting you once when you were still at the West, and you didn't really want to give a big opinion on something because you were still there.
Yeah.
And that was the time that Nick Nat Nui got pictured at the back of the training facility, and he was lifting a box. Do you remember that? Remember Nick Nat Nui? There was a picture of him lifting a box.
We covered it on this podcast.
Yeah, we covered it.
Man carries box.
Man carries box. And I wanted you to like comment on it, but you were like, I still work there at the time. What's it like in a sports newsroom at the West?
Yeah.
When they're like, all right, back page, Nick Nat Nui.
When
lifting a
shit
box.
like that gets rolled out.
That wouldn't have been from him. That would have been from the sports section. That would have been from general news, because it's just like, it's almost like, if you think about clickbait, people click on something because it's like car crash McGowan, porn star, something. It's like all these buzzwords, and they click on it. It's like, I do it too. I'm like, I click on that. But with sometimes the paper operates like that, where it's just Nick Nat Nui, and even if it's absurd, any reaction, good or bad, is a sum game, because even if someone's like, I fucking hate this, I want to open this and read it and buy it and take it home, that's still positive.
Yeah, but like amongst the staff, they're like, we know what we're doing, or is it?
I think a little bit. It's also like as long as they're buying the paper, and as long as advertising being seen, and good articles are being read, because there's really good journalists there, and like the sport team are fantastic. Like outside of, pardon me, everything that happens. Yeah, I remember seeing that. I remember at the Brownlow, I had on my notes, ask Nick Nat what was in the box. And then he spoke to me and was like really nice, and I lost my words, and it was like I was speaking to a pretty girl or something.
You do. I mean, that video is one of my favourite, because one, I love / loathe Tom Browne, and so the fact that you were able to speak to Tom Browne at the Brownlow, very, very good.
Lovely man, by the way.
I know. I have dealt with him as well. How do you keep a serious face when you're doing stuff like that? You chat with Gil McLaughlin. Do you have a laugh with people after you do it? If you're doing the serious persona, Josh,
Asking funny questions,
but deadpan.
Yeah.
At the end of it, when the camera cuts, do you go, "Oh, thanks so much for that, mate," or are they walking off going, "What the fuck?"
I got really angry. I'm actually like, I'm not that fun to be around a lot of the time. Like,
good. G'day to Josh's girlfriend.
Yeah, well, she'd agree. She really sucks, eh? But the camera person, I got my mate Giorgio to do it, and that was actually for the West. I didn't make any extra money for that. That was through the West, and it was a really good opportunity. So I'm grateful. But I was really angry because the camera person was like, I'm shy. Like, he kept getting shy, and I was like, you just keep filming the whole time, and I will never break character like the whole time. And that was the point, because we went in there with 3 targets. We were like Gil McLaughlin, Nick Nat Nui, which would be really fun. Oh, no, Nat Fyfe, not Nick Nat Nui. And
Didn't get Nat?
Tom Browne. Nat ran straight past.
Oh.
Because I wanted to have like a moment with Nat. I wanted to be like, do you ever just get sick of this? Just get sick of this, the questions, the everything.
He would have given you a proper answer, I reckon. Yeah, mate.
Yeah, no, it would have been great. And
I've been waiting for that question for my whole career.
And it would have played sad music under it. Anyway, so it was really good. But Tom Browne was really nice. And
so do you tell the guys when you do something like that? Sorry, mate, that was just I'm just taking the complete piss. I'm not an absolute freak show asking you weird-ass questions, or I just walk off thinking you're a freak show.
A couple of them walked off. Matt DeBoer went to the high school next to me, and we're the same sort of age. Right. And he got me in a headlock when I saw him next. and was just like, "You think you're funny?" It was on the grand final night, but he has a really good sense of humour, so he got over it because I think I asked him, "I don't want to bore you, so I'll make this quick," and he goes, "Ha, you've missed." And then I go, "Now that we're laughing," and I kept looking back at the camera. Do you ever look back at the moment you left Freo and laugh? And then he goes, "Are we live?" And then I cut the thing off, and it was a stitch up, but it wasn't. It was pretty harmless, you know what I mean? Because he didn't say anything incriminating, you know what I mean? It makes me look like a dickhead.
Yes.
I've just realised I've spoken for 10 minutes. I have no memory of what I've done because I've drunk so much whiskey.
Social media is where we're at. If you're losing your mind and you're wondering where we are in this podcast, well, we're at the most important part where you, the listener, get to contribute. No, you give it, we ring it.
Butcher it every time.
What is it?
You speak it, we call it.
You call it, we speak it.
You call it,
You
we
call
speak
it, we speak it. We also have another segment. So we have you send it, we read it. And we have you call it, we speak it. You call it, we speak it is... See, that's why I get stuffed up. It doesn't make
Do you
any
have a phone
sense.
line or something?
We do, but you just have to give us your phone number and we call you. How good's that?
Can I just quickly ask you guys, before we start, had an idea. If someone steals, I'd be upset, actually. Actually, I probably shouldn't say it.
Let's steal it.
Should I say it?
Yes.
I want to get a friend of mine, one of the young kids who used to play basketball, to wear an A-frame phone number after the Optus Stadium games and have unsolicited talkback for our podcast. So then I'm on the phone lines. We have three of us on the phone lines. And we're doing talkback.
I really think Full Credit and BackChat could have an amalgamation of some sort. I'm serious because that is just fantastic. They used to do it. Did you see the... Did you get that idea from? They used to do that back in the day. Dipper used to stand out the front.
No, I didn't get that, but like that's cool.
Everybody watching, remind me to send to Josh. They used to send Dipper out into the crowd after games at the MCG, and he just asked, "I'll send it to you."
That would be brutal.
All right, let's do that later. But social media on now. Stop interrupting me, Josh.
Sorry.
This is a very important part of the show. The greatest segment of all time on podcasting history. It's been going since day one, where you, the listener, get to ask Josh the questions. Here we go. Tim Wilcox.
Favorite Discovery Channel show?
Tim Wilcox is like a really famous TikTok Australian guy.
Actually?
Yeah, he is.
Hey, Tim.
He's taking the piss.
Hey. You
that?
don't think they're actually asking you what your favorite
No,
Discovery
he's
Channel show
joking,
is?
yeah.
Oh,
It
okay,
doesn't
joking.
matter.
Okay.
You need to give a real answer.
Probably Gold Diggers Australia.
That is a good show. I've spent many a hotel room watching. That's a fucking great
Is that
show.
to be like Miss...
The
is
guy-
that gold prospectors or gold
No,
diggers?
mate,
Actual gold
diggers.
prospectors, yeah.
Yeah, like there's the guy with the granddad that owns the mine. There's
Yeah,
like,
right. It's not just women trying to...
WA production, get right around it, mate.
Well, I think we've reached our greatest social handle of the year. I have a cockman.
Well done, BackChat, on having the competition on. Well,
You're not really competition. Sorry. But you're
or
not.
La Familia.
Love.
We don't really
What's
care.
the guy from Fast and Furious? Family.
Vin
Vin
Diesel?
Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Family. Full Credit is a very good podcast. Did you write this?
Yeah, I did.
Ask Josh if he's worried that all his funny stuff will typecast him and he won't be taken as a serious journalist again. He did a serious tweet this week saying good things about Josh Giddey's triple-double, and I was looking for the joke.
Yeah. No, it's like the one thing I'm serious about is basketball is and sometimes I joke about it too. Like today, I think it wouldn't have been the sport team, but the West had on the front page, Josh, Aussie superstar better than LeBron?
Yeah.
God.
And I just saw it and I thought it was the funniest thing ever because it's a classic case of Australian media just
We've got a good player.
He's
the best.
just like making the reach.
Trying to draw
But
comparisons.
it wouldn't have been the sport team. It would have been general news being like, this will fucking sell papers. But so I found it funny anyway. Sometimes I worry about it, but I also think like the alternative. Okay, what's the alternative? This is the person who we speak to at Spotify who was awesome. When we did our first pilot, they were like, okay, you were like hell serious in the audio package. What was the point? And then I was like, oh, it's like a pretty good story. And they said, okay, well, what's the ceiling for you as being a serious journalist? And then I said, oh, I don't know. She goes, well, it's the same as the other 1,000 Australian journalists. What's the ceiling for being like a comedy person?
There's
Far
not many people
higher.
doing it.
Yeah.
But you could find a mixture, right? You could find a balance between the two. Is that
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying? You
Yeah,
can still
yeah,
have
I
a
think
serious
so.
opinion without being everything that comes out of your mouth the joke.
I think so. Like as bad as it sounds, Joe Rogan, but for basketball and Australian comedy.
Hey, mate, if you ever want to come on BackChat, because we're going live again, I'll give it to the listeners. The people who are listening right now, the people that aren't going to come jumping on when we go live. If you ever want to come here and you want to do the serious / comedy stuff, you're just welcome, mate. You're always welcome.
Okay.
That wasn't a joke.
I'm happy.
Stop laughing. Be sad. Eliza Ellis.
Hey, Josh.
Oh, no.
How did it feel when you fell off your chair in the office that day, both physically and mentally, because the whole office saw and heard you eat shit?
So for some reason, the chairs at the West weigh 100 kilos. And I try to sit in the chair. I was with vigor, approached my chair, sat down, and the whole thing collapsed. And it's a quiet newsroom because it's print. And then it was like a bomb had exploded. And then I looked up and there was the gangly Ranger freak. And the whole office was like, oh my God. And there were the couple of people that were my friends just like ready to explode with laughter that I'd been so bad at this that I'd fallen over sitting down.
I'm just imagining Josh fall on his ass in the middle of the office. It's very good. Taz_Kai.
I mean, this is hard. Tell us a bad joke. I mean, take that as that's it. That's all. That's all the question. Tell us a bad joke.
I think I replied to that like you described me as SPL superstar. I thought that was the joke.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like medium to low role player in the SPL.
That's fine.
You know what I've found with Josh, and I love pointing at him really close to his face. You know what
I love about you?
You know what I find about you? I've texted a few times, and I wrote that social media post. You don't. Sarcasm doesn't seem to commute itself across text or written form to you personally. I've had multiple text messages where I've been completely taking the piss because I'm like, so I'm like, oh, like Josh Garlepp, he's a funny guy. Like I can be funny. I can completely take the piss, and it's happened multiple times where you've not read that cue.
But maybe that's the joke.
Did you think that I thought you were a superstar in the SBL?
No. I knew it, but like I knew I wasn't. But Did
you think that I thought you were?
I just think sometimes I overanalyze stuff.
Okay. Oh, no, okay. I feel really bad now. Type_hype. Type_hype.
How do you explain your extended family, in-laws, what you do for work now?
Here's a bit of a... Okay, so my family, like my dad's side, which is all the family you have here. Why'd you guys have to bring it up? No.
Is that a shtick you like? You just like
it's dark humor all the time. No, they're pretty good about it, and like I didn't go with them this year, but it's probably more it's the in-laws thing. It's they're really supportive and they're lovely, but it's more when like someone brings out like a video you've made and is showing someone in a pub for the first time, and you're me, Dan.
Yep.
And then they're like, how funny is it? It's so funny. And then they're like, it's like loud, and they're like singing for the first time, and I'm just like sitting there like this, like, can you just like not? Like it's a bit awkward. And then it's me vomiting up a fillet of fish. and then the person's like, gross. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that's silly. So they're very, very supportive, almost to a fault.
What do you say you do for a job right now? And you can't say podcast, mate, because you've
so
only been doing
Christmas,
like, how many
Christmas lunch, they're like, oh, so what are you doing now,
I have an example.
Josh?
So at Christmas lunch, we went to my girlfriend's brother-in-law's place, and I sat next to the friend of the family, this guy...
Who was like, what am I doing here?
He was grumpy. He was really grumpy the whole time. Like, picture like everyone's being jovial, being like making small talk as you do, and he's next to me like centimetre away because everyone always over invites people and then you're touching legs. Yes. And I'm like, oh, so what do you do with yourself? And he doesn't even look at me when he answers. He's like, I'm in engineering. We make like compressors and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I have an engineering degree, so start talking about it. And he's like, okay. And then eventually he goes, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I can't be bothered answering because it's like, how long's a piece of string? So I said, oh, I'm in media. Like
in
media. And then someone brought out the fillet of fish video. And he's just confused and just like,
Right.
He left pretty soon because he had to go because he's divorced and had to take his kid somewhere else.
I
so.
feel bad for this guy. You're making me feel bad about a lot of things.
He
Matt,
thought I was the biggest loser ever, so it's fine.
maybe you
Before
are.
we go to the next one, the fillet of fish video really hit home because I'm that guy that orders the fillet of fish.
Yeah.
Of course you are, man.
It's so good.
And then have a seizure.
The steamed bun.
I'm so sorry. That was like not a funny joke. My bad.
Yeah.
Matiosco.
Is the Bowls Club you film at sick of your shit?
No, they're never there.
Okay.
In fact, one time we debuted and we were top of Australian podcasts.
Hey, we've been there. Don't look at us like we've been there too.
Because of the algorithm. It's like new subscribers, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we're like an amazing podcast probably.
Sorry. And then the guy behind the counter was like, what do you guys do? I'm like, we just recorded this podcast here. So they have no clue we're doing it. They have a separate room. They're fantastic.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So they're not sick of your shit.
No, they're not even aware of it.
Saxon _Soundness.
Not a question, just saying I will miss your mailbag segment on the Duff and Quarters podcast.
Oh, that's lovely.
What was that? This is like you send it. It sounds like you send it. We read it.
Yeah.
We used to. I produced the podcast at the West, and so we did one of these two hardball gets, and which you were on, Will, and then
Probably your best.
yeah,
radio
and then
episodes.
we did a podcast with the two senior journos, Mark Duffield and Glenn Quartermain, and Mark Ratings for a period, and they were just like really, they just loved it, but didn't quite understand the reach,
Right.
and so they were doing it and didn't even know how to share it. But then all of a sudden they were getting approached more than they did in their entire career.
Correct.
People at pubs being like, man, I love the pod. And they're like, who the fuck are you?
What's the
I
pod?
didn't send you this.
So they were awesome guys. So I
But what was
appreciate
the
those.
mailbag segment?
So I brought in the mailbag, Josh's mailbag.
It's literally you send it. We read it.
Yeah.
We probably got it second. Sorry about that. Steele _Barnes.
Josh, tell me who you are and what is your claim to fame. I have no idea who you are.
Jesus,
this is the last question.
Fucking an hour 40, mate. I think we're good. No claim to fame, just a bunch of random things.
And cut.
That's it.
That's it. That's BackChat right there. BackChat. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be wherever you like it. www.backchatpodcast.com.
Don't need to say
Yeah,
www
I do.
every time.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
HTTPS
Exactly.
/
Go all the way.
colon.
You missed the column.
Can I just say quickly, Andrew Bogut, Peter Bowl, Dan Venables' first interview ever.
Chris Marston.
Sam
Butler.
Sam Butler. Amazing.
Matt Spanger went across 4 different premiership
Amazing.
teams. One is one. Finally got there in the end.
Kim
Doing a
Millman.
great job. Yeah, actually, I have a couple of stories about it, but we'll go into it. Josh Garlepp.
Yeah.
I'm going to say...
Don't look at me. I don't know what you're going to say.
Oh, it's in terms of there you go. Hello at backchatpodcast.com.au. Subscribe to YouTube, Patreon. We love you. Anything else, Dan?
That's it.
You're at the bottom, man.
Full credit, please subscribe. We need it.